this is from Jack. Jack wanted to share this, and this is from Politico. So check this out. They let him get away with murder. Dems are tormented over how to stop Bernie. With Bernie Sanders gaining steam a week before the Iowa caucuses, tormented Democrats are second-guessing what they say was a hands-off strategy against the Vermont senator in the 2020 primary. Guys, we got this candidate who's actually going to help people. We got to keep an eye on this. His policies would actually help people, and they're connecting with it. This is bad. We can't have that. We got to have a plan. They fear a repeat of 2016 in the making, when mainstream Republicans scoffed at the idea that Donald Trump could ever win the nomination until he became unstoppable, only this time from the left. Somebody tweeted, when I tweeted this article out, somebody responded and they were like, Democrats are really scared that what happened in 2016 could happen to them where they win. They're really afraid. Shit, we might win. We might win at the behest of our donors might not like this victory. This isn't a donor-approved victory. All right, so this is, they're quoting this Matt Bennett, who is the co-founder of Third Way. What is Third Way? So first they said Democrats are for the working class. Then they said Democrats are kind of for the working class. And then another group came along and said, wait a second, there's a third way where Democrats aren't for the working class at all. We want to go that route. And that's what Third Way is. They are just Republicans under a different brand. But anyway, here's what they have to say. They're just like, oh, we're really, holy crap. Bernie Sanders might win. Many Democrats say they respect the support behind Sanders, but fear a self-described Democratic socialist would cede must-win battlegrounds to Trump. Because you know that Bernie Sanders did really poorly in those swing states that Hillary Clinton lost, right? They hated Bernie in Michigan, right, Joy? Didn't they hate him? Wisconsin, they weren't fans. Bernie did terrible there. Bernie does not go on Fox News and get standing ovations when he talks about Medicare for all. By the way, Fox News, the network Liz Warren thinks it's beneath her to go on. Yeah. Even though, and believe me, I know how despicable Fox News is. By the way, MSNBC, CNN, despicable too. They all do the same stuff. Our corporate media, they're all guilty of the same things. But Liz Warren thinks somehow it's beneath her to go on one of the major news networks, which, hey, our media structure is repulsive, but whether we like it or not, it's the one we got. So you got to go on it. You got to suck it up and you got to go on it and you got to try to win people over. If you can't do that, which she can't, she's proven time and time again she can't, you ain't going to beat Donald Trump. You know who can do it and has and continues to? Bernie Sanders. Swing states, according to this article, have a higher concentration of swing voters. We need a nominee who draws them to the Democratic column. That's what Rahm Emanuel says. And in this case, Rahm Emanuel's right. So here's what you need to beat Donald Trump. You need unlikely voters. You need a couple converts. And you need people who weren't going to vote otherwise. And you need some converts. You need some moderates. You need some Republicans. And it's so interesting that they acknowledge this in this article and they try to use that against Bernie Sanders. Meanwhile, when there's data out there that points to Bernie Sanders as the right person, they try to spin that and smear him that way. Like there was that study where a bunch of Trump supporters were like, we'd be open to a Bernie Sanders. And they used that against Bernie. They were like, you see, Bernie and Trump are the exact same thing. No, it's that he has crossover appeal because he has a message that appeals to working class people. Trump did the same thing. It was a bunch of lies, but Trump tried it. And some people are like, hey, we tried this guy on his BS because we were so sick of the Washington Beltway. We took a chance on this clown. He ended up being the clown that we thought he was probably going to be. So we're going to take a chance on real populism, and we want Bernie Sanders. So it's interesting that Politico's own logic, or not Politico, but this article where they're quoting Rahm Emanuel and Third Way, their own logic saying this is what it takes to win. Bernie Sanders has all those things, and they're trying to use it against him because in reality, they just don't want him to be the nominee.
Yeah, and the guy you're referring to of Third Way, he had the best tweet ever last night. He said, Jennifer Palmieri, or I forget how you say her last name, but she's not a fan of progressive. And she, it showed Bernie like way ahead, like in Iowa. I mean, our polls are kicking ass. And she goes, wow. And then Matt from Third Way shared it and he goes, please think about this, like that. And it's like,
What?
now he's at the bargaining stage. Like, he is that, you know, first it was smears. Now it's like, please think, please just think. It's
What does
like,
that
we are
mean?
thinking. That's why we're with Bernie.
What? How sad is your life if you're just like, there's this guy who wants to give people health care and actually do something about climate change and wants to give people living wages? The horrors. We got to stop this. We got to stop this guy. We got to, even though you look at history, we are due for a sharp left turn or we're screwed. Like that's where we're at as far as history goes. We need a total transformation of the way we go about society. Like that's really what we need at the end of the day. We need to completely transform the way we go about society. This is a guy that's going to push us in that direction. We're not going to get everything in 8 years. That's impossible. But he's going to push us in the right direction. And hopefully, you know, get a few policies through that are going to at least halt climate catastrophe or slow it down. And at least is going to get more people health care. You know, well, presumably everyone health care if Medicare for all gets through. And people are like, man, we got to stop this. This is dangerous.
It must be a special kind of privilege to say, I mean, that's the real getting away with murder, is listening to story after story of people saying, I'm dying. I just lost my son. I just lost my husband because they don't have health care. And also the other kind of murder by proxy, voting for endless wars. So, but yet they're saying that about Bernie. It's quite privileged. It really is. And it's gross.
Well, I think that's what 2016 really did to everybody. It really showed you that, you know, oh, okay, this the Democratic establishment, not the base, but the Democratic establishment, they hate people to their left more than anybody. They, you know, it's not that, okay, you know, and for someone like me, like I'm a millennial, I never really felt any type of camaraderie to the Democratic Party. You know, I generally voted Democrat because, you know, that was better than the other option. I kind of felt like, well, you know, my views aren't really represented on the ballot. I'm not really in the status quo political sphere of the United States. I'm to the left of that. But, you know, electorally, this is the clearer glass. And then all of a sudden, you know, the way I describe it in a nutshell, it's like all 2016 really did, and this is a big all, but it confirmed all my greatest fears about the Democratic establishment. That it's like, no, it really is this bad. It really is this bad. And it really is just it's a fixed game. I mean, it's a fixed game. We really only have one party. It's the money party. It's controlled by the donors. It's controlled by the ruling elite. Oh, uh-oh. Where did Joy go? Joy, there you are, Joy. You disappeared for a second. Welcome back. The Russians found out we were doing this. What are you going to do?
Oh, man.
What are you going to do?
I was afraid of that damn deep state.
But no, it's like a candidate like Bernie, you know, when he gets through, and Bernie's not perfect. Nobody is. You know, I'm not trying to be like, oh, man, Bernie's going to walk on water and save us all. It's not going to work that way. And even if Bernie wins, which I hope he does, he's only going to be as effective as the movement behind him. So,
Absolutely.
like, the way I say it, I'm like, look, if Bernie wins, I'm going to be pretty freaking happy. And I say for one day, we all celebrate. We've earned it. Boy, did we earn it if Bernie wins. Let's celebrate for a night. But then it begins. Like it begins. Like, it's not like Bernie's, let's go to brunch, Bernie won. No, dude, it's begun. Because Bernie is going to be fighting against the Congress. He's going to be fighting against the media. All the things he's fighting against now, he'll still be fighting against those when he's in the White House. And so it's up to him. I mean, he's going to have to govern like an FDR, where he points to the people and he's like, this is what I want to do. This is what's holding us back. What do you guys have to say about it? And we need to be in the streets saying that,
Absolutely.
we're behind you. I mean, otherwise it's not going to be an effective presidency. That's just the way it is, you know?
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important that people also keep in mind, it's not just the presidency in 2020. I mean, that is in the front of our mind. I mean, it is. But at the same time, getting people elected across the country to actually bring his policies to fruition is going to be imperative. I've interviewed over 150 Bernie crack candidates from across the country since 2018. That's been, the goal of my show primarily is to get these candidates exposure and to get them out there. And we have to keep that in mind as well. There are some really great candidates running, and we will need them, even regardless if Bernie wins. We're going to need them to stand up for progressives and at least be the voice that votes no on certain things.
Right. Or yes on certain things. Because there's a lot of people who will. I mean, there's a lot of Democrats who will vote no on Medicare for all. Like when it comes up, there's a lot of, and I think also going on that, like a lot of things are going to have to happen outside of electoral politics. I mean, we talk about electoral politics because it's kind of what's in the sphere so much, but so much is going to have to happen completely outside of electoral politics via community action, via coalitions, and then even like local political action. I mean, I wish, and I agree. I see great people all the time who are running for Congress and running for Senate and stuff like that. And that's great. And I hope they all win. But I wish more people trying to do something in the city council would reach out to me. You know what I mean? Like I wish more people were, and maybe there's more, and I just don't know about it. I mean, I don't have my thumb on the pulse of every single district in every single country, or every single country, every single state, every single, like it's impossible. But I wish there was more of that. Like I wish we had more like just kind of progressive coalitions, like what Gail McLaughlin did in Richmond, California.
Absolutely, and I think that's a good progression. Start at city council, then go to Senate, then go to Congress. Then I mean, when you take someone like and
you got to say it like Count Chocula. His 5 supporters, they get really mad when you like mispronounce his name, and it's like, well, I'm not mispronouncing his name. I'm just saying it like Count Chocula. Buttigieg is how you pronounce his name, and I'm just saying Buttigieg. It's like an intro, and a bunch of bats fly around, and then he forms, and then what he strikes me as a dude who should just always have a lunchbox with him. There's just something about him, like if they had an action figure, like his accessory would totally just be a lunchbox. He would just have it, and he'd be like, oh. Like he just has that personality.
Amazing,
right?
But he would have himself.
It would have himself, yeah, right. A picture of himself on the lunchbox. He'd open it up. He'd be like, "What did the CIA pack me today?" Like platitude sandwich. Like that's what he would do. That's what I picture that guy. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. An article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make